life, I've been a performer, a musician, beloved and celebrated by all. But I have a secret. I'm also a playground for sprites and spirits and worse. The voice that rings inside me now is darker than any that came before. Almost caused a bunch of my fans to rip each other to pieces. But you can trust me. I've got this under control. Step 1. Find out who or what is trying to take control of my mind. Step 2. Make it sorry it ever tried.
The kid is whistling an off-key tune as he strolls about shiftily. He raises an eyebrow at your approach, but says nothing.
Ain't up to how. Just looking for someone. Seen Ben Mesd. Ooh, Baron won't like that. Won't like that one little bit.
The kid shoves his hands in his pockets and ambles off, resuming his tuneless whistling.
This town looks peaceful enough. Let's find out if looks deceive.
Keep hauling that. Go on, you mute sacks of flesh. Put your backs into it. I'll not lose another day to the tide. The Lord Dread awaits. Its sails billow with Dallas's breath.
The Magister stops, barking orders. He sniffs the air like a predator, turns to face you, the wolf eyeing the deer.
I'm going nowhere right at this moment. Nowhere since something crossed my path and oh so very sharply piqued my interest. Tell me, have you ever been strung up by the hands? Your body swinging like a bell's clapper as your bones are being broken with cast iron rods? Ah, you've met with what's left of Siva, have you? I'm so very glad you're familiar with my work.
He licks his lips. Dry flesh turns wet.
See, I'd like to string you up too. Rack you with rods and leave you dangling over a puddle of your own blood and piss.
His sliver of a smile could rival a rattler's.
I'm very good at what I do, see? I don't even need a sauce hound yapping at my side. There was a whiff of something in the air when you approached. A current of filth, that is to say, sauce. Best convince me I was mistaken.
He leans in closer and sniffs the air once more.
Interesting. So I was mistaken. Must have been ambition I smelt on you, not the magic that dare not speak its name. Very well. In that case, we'll forego the gallows and turn straight to the hunt. The very definition of your order's existence. Seems peaceful here, doesn't it? A quiet day in a quiet town. One wouldn't think these drifting woods toss on dwarf-troubled waters. But they do. I'm quite capable, but as you can see, I'm also preparing to set sail. And who will deal with them when I'm gone? Consider for a moment the dwarf. What is he? A mule? A beast of burden? But some defy that role. There are rats among them, dancing to their rat queen's tune. I've need of a rat catcher. Of course, I must depart post-haste, but Julian here will stay behind and be a good little parrot. Ask and he will answer.
Stay behind? But I've my orders. Same as you. Dallas.
Like I said, Julian is staying. And with that, I must be off. No hard feelings about the death threats, of course. How about we part shaking hands instead of stringing them up? How very heartwarming. One last thing. The Magisters here are diligent men and women. A stranger like you may run into troubles with them. Should this happen, just wave this piece of parchment in their eager little faces. My signature will placate them without fail, I assure you. Adieu and good luck. The Lord Dread awaits. The use of the gallows I pass on to you. The time has come, my stitched-lit lovelies. We set sail. Get on board and man your stations.
Left behind.
The Magister is rubbing the dirt off his robes, none the worse for wear, apparently, from the blast of magic that knocked him off his feet.
You, the supposed source hunter. I'd be whining and dining aboard the Lord Dread if it weren't for you. Your meddling in Magister affairs had better be worth it. Yes, I am very much aware. Wasn't my damn head that hit the floor back there. Now answer me. Did you meet with a Magister caravan on your way into town? The hour's growing late and I'm beginning to worry something might have gone wrong. By the bishop's bones, you saw it! Out with it, woman! What happened? Voidwoken. That means source was used. Which means some third party must have attacked first. And I've a fair idea who that might have been. Raymond, that old goat. Always suspected there's more to the Driftwood Dwarves than meets the eye. Hate to admit it, but I think he may be right. Too many things have gone wrong along Reaper's Coast to attribute to bad luck. Magister ships sinking, weapons disappearing, and as you've seen, a caravan attacked and destroyed. Rumour has it the Dwarvian Queen herself is behind these acts of sabotage. That is what I want you to prove. They've always been snakes in the grass. Cheap labour, sure, and hard workers too. Half of them are their Queen's spies. Her eyes, her ears, her poison-pouring hands. You know what Queen Justinia is like, surely. A tyrant and a master strategist to boot. There's a local thug, Lohse. He runs an operation out of his hideout beneath the Black Bull Tavern. I suspect this man of being a spy for his queen.
It may be interesting to have a word with him. Find out what he's up to. Where I really want you to ferret around is Reaper's Bluffs, to the west of Driftwood.
It's wild territory, remote and hostile, where I believe the dwarves may have set up a base of operations away from prying eyes. Should you find any such place, and better yet, proof that Lohse is working on behalf of Queen Justinia, you will be handsomely rewarded, I assure you. In that case, go forth and let the hunt commence!
Not in any mood to talk about it.
The carved figure is a resplendent sight in this ramshackle village. Your touch creates a ripple across the mosaic as if it were water and not stone. A comforting warmth spreads through you, starting at your fingertips.
We've got to take what we can get.
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much. You're safe among friends.
Latest news! Fresh from the war owl! Hear all about it! Many a latest, my friend. The war, the bishop, the queen. What tickles your fancy? Ain't looking too good for them lizards. Word is, the Divine Order's gonna win the ancient empire and hit it hard. You remember what happened to the elves, don't you? Ain't no one left standing when you treat them to death fog. Seven save us. Stabbed in the back he was by them vile, low-born, treacherous seekers. Kill them all, I say. Do them like Magister Raymond did old Lady Siva. That'll teach them traitors. I mean, they doomed us all, didn't they? The son of the Divine is dead. Gone. Who'll save us now? Jolly Justinia, Queen of the Dwarves. Ah, Scourge, more like. Here's 20 or so noble gentlemen. No one knows what they did wrong, if anything, and she has them stripped and whipped all the way to the execution grounds. Didn't even give them the dignity of a sword. No, ma'am. Had them all hung. Real slow like. You ask me, and I say she's mad as a mink with its tail on fire. Queen or no queen?
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much. You're safe among friends.
Startled, the guard leaps backwards and reaches for her weapon. She locks eyes with yours before releasing the grip on her blade's hilt.
You shouldn't surprise me like that. Oh, I could have sliced your neck clean open.
Hear ye! Divine order to march against the ancient...
Harmless? A harmless meadow may be cursed by void. Every ripple in the sea could signal an attack.
She locks an icy glare on you.
And every man, woman and child could be a threat.
I think that lunatic Siva is loose again. We won't be so gentle when we catch her this time.
You're safe among friends.
Off the Fort Joy you go, nasty sorcerer. You can stay there with the dirty lizards and Joe's mum until you're cured.
Take that, sorcerer! Dallas, get her!
You're dead, Alexander. Alexander, you're dead. You have to stay dead until we say you're not dead anymore.
Here, missus! Alexander doesn't have to stay dead, does he?
I'm approaching this.
The three kids stare at the collar in awe. Then they stare at you in even greater awe.
Is that real? Yeah, it's real. I seen the one they put on Joe's mum before she got sent to Fort Joy.
A real source collar. This is the best day of my life. Come here, sorcerer. I'm going to put a stop to your shenanigans for real.
The sorcerer screams and runs away. Dallas and Alexander in hot pursuit, all three children laughing.
I don't care if we tear this place apart plank by plank. We will find him.
You can't just charge in here and ransack my business.
There's a murder on the loose, and you're thinking about your business.
I have rights. You've no authority to storm in here like this.
We have the authority of 4 missing magisters. And if we suspect you're hiding their killer, we'll throw you to the damned Voidwoken.
There's a sorcerer somewhere in this worm-ridden dump. Have you seen him? Grey cloak, grey beard, satchel of books. Lucian's teeth. Where is that runt hiding? If you see anything suspicious, anything at all, report it immediately. Do you understand? He's a sorcerer dressed as a tinkerer. Our brothers started vanishing as soon as the tramp arrived in town. He fled into this stinking shed, but we'll find him again. We'll have our justice.
The Magister's eyes flick to a nearby pile of fish, and he moves off to investigate. The dwarf peers at an expertly dissected fish, gently poking its innards with his knife.
Fascinating. Most fascinating. Oh, my... I mean, no, what do you want?
The dwarf shakes his head with irritation before turning back to the fish.
You're blocking my light. Go away.
The dwarf flushes red with indignation.
I was speaking to myself. I've never seen anything like these blighted fish before. I want to see what the Voidwoken have done to them. Yes, as it happens. I need to see the effects of eating these fish firsthand, if you understand me. No, I can't eat the fish. I need to properly observe its effects. And I can't do that if I'm indisposed. Do as I ask, and you'll be amply rewarded, I guarantee you. Wonderful. Now, there's 3 samples that I wish to learn more about. Care to choose?
The fish instantly churns your insides. You double over in pain. A sudden vivid sensation of floating in darkness assails you. There's something in there with you. Something. Hungry and corrupt. You can't breathe. You can't breathe. The dwarf suddenly drifts back into view, peering at you with fascination.
How do you feel?
A stream of black bile suddenly erupts from your mouth and across the dwarf's boots. He doesn't even look displeased.
I see. Well, I'm sure it was nothing but a side effect of the fish. Speaking of which, I've learned a great deal from observing you. I owe you a great debt.
The dwarf puffs up his chest and proudly gestures to the fish.
The fish is indeed malignant. Humans are affected by it in the same manner as other species. Thank you, but no. I can only allow for 1 specimen per volunteer, or my findings could become flawed. The fish you ate is known as yellow ridgeback. Quite a cunning breed, often used in concoctions to increase alertness. But this one, touched by the void itself. Who is to say how such a creature might alter an alertness mixture? Seek out somewhere that peddles alertness herb mixes. Adding these unique ridgebacks might make quite the impact. So, now my work must continue, as soon as I've got in my quota of fish, of course. Farewell, stranger.
You tell the magisters. Then we can get them out, and you can get back to work.
The dwarf peers at an expertly dissected fish, gently...
Fascinating. Oh, my... I mean, no, what do you want?
With a small grin, the dwarf glances between you and his handiwork.
Indeed I am. They can close our schools, but they can't take away what I've been taught. Besides, there's still so much to learn. Plenty. These tainted fish are causing a lot of hardship. If I can understand what's happening to them, perhaps there'll be a way to reverse the effects. I have to try. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Speaking of which, I need to see the effects of eating these fish firsthand. Yes, as it happens. I need to see the effects of eating these fish firsthand. Wonderful. Now, I have two samples that I wish to study. Care to choose which you'll try?
The fish instantly churns your insides, blinds you to your surroundings, but then a vision, towering horrors, the void woken, gathered before a silhouetted figure. You strain to see who it is. Your perspective abruptly changes. Cold, dark water. You glide through it. Black tendrils suddenly creep across your vision. You slow. The darkness consumes you. The dwarf suddenly drifts back into view.
How do you feel?
A stream of black bile suddenly erupts from your mouth and across the dwarf's boots. He doesn't even look displeased. The dwarf leans in and peers intently at your eyes.
Spontaneous delusions. Very interesting. But nothing more than a side effect from eating the fish, I'm sure. Speaking of which, I've learned a great deal from observing you. I owe you a great debt.
The dwarf puffs up his chest and proudly gestures to the fish.
The fish is indeed malignant. Elves are affected by it in the same manner as other species. Perhaps a touch more vivid in their hallucinations, but otherwise identical. There was no manipulation. You volunteered of your own free will. Besides, this work is important. You should be glad to have played a part in the betterment of all of Rivellon. Now for your reward. This might be quite what you were expecting, but, well, the fish you ate is known as Crimson Bream. Quite a fast, vicious breed. It's often used in the creation of ferocity mixtures. But those use regular specimens, not this kind. Who is to say what might happen if you brewed a ferocity mixture with a Crimson Bream that's been touched by the void itself? The effects could be quite potent. Seek out somewhere that peddles ferocity herb mixes, but make an addition. One of these, unique breams. So, now my work must continue, as soon as I've got in my quota of fish, of course. Farewell, stranger.
If you see so much as a rat's hair out of place, you tell the magisters.
The dwarf peers at an expertly dissected fish, gently...
Fascinating. Oh, my... I mean, no, what do you want?
With a small...
Indeed I am. They can... Plenty. These tainted fish. I have to try... I need to see... Yes, as it happens. I need to see the effect. This brown fish is the last sample that I wish to study for now. If you care to do the honors?
The fish instantly churns your insides. Everything turns black. A sudden vivid sensation of floating in darkness assails you. There's something in there with you. Something. Hungry and corrupt. You can't breathe. You can't breathe. The dwarf suddenly drifts back into view, peering at you with fascination.
How do you feel?
A stream of black bile suddenly erupts from your mouth and across the dwarf's boots. He doesn't even look displeased.
Doesn't look like you didn't feel a thing, which is interesting enough by itself. Speaking of which, I've learned a great deal from observing you. I owe you.
The dwarf puffs up his chest.
The fish is indeed malignant. Humans are affected by it in the same manner as other species. Don't you see? If all species are affected the same, then one cure will save them all as well. Just as soon as one is found, that is. Now for your reward. This might be quite what you... The fish you ate is known as the umber monkfish, a remarkably intelligent breed. In fact, its flesh is often used to create intelligence mixtures. Now this monkfish, one that's been touched by the void itself, who's to say how its flesh could augment an intelligence brew? it could prove to be most valuable. Find somewhere that offers intelligence brews, then add this monkfish sample. The effects could be most interesting. So, now my work must continue, as soon as I've got in my quota of fish, of course. Farewell, stranger.
Place. You tell the magisters.
You see a man, well-fed and wealthy, but stress has lined his face and narrowed his waist. He tries to ignore your presence, fails. He sighs.
See here. I'm very busy. The factory is crawling with magisters, and our shipments to Arks are held up. Time is money. Don't waste my money. What do you want? Fish. This is a fish factory. I'm shipping fish to Arks. Now, please, there's the door. I suggest you use it. That's privileged information. I have a trade to protect. Do I? But you're right, you don't seem the type. The answer to your question is, unsurprisingly, a man in a house. A man in a house buys all the void-tainted fish I can send him.
That dark shadow crosses his face once more. He shivers.
Not that I've ever met the man. Not sure I want to, if I'm honest. Absolutely not. I don't give away sensitive information like that to anyone who just asks for it. And I don't keep it lying around, either. That really is enough now. I'm asking you to leave. Good day.
You see a man, well-fed and wealthy, but stress has lined his face and narrowed his waist.
You took your time. The magisters are searching the place, and Lohse needs to get his stuff out of the basement if he doesn't want to lose it.
He squints at you. He withdraws the key.
You're not with Lohse.
He eyes you suspiciously.
No, I don't believe you are. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to forget everything I just said. You heard nothing. Agreed? Good. Now don't let me detain you any further.
He turns back to his work.
You tell the magisters. Then we can get them out, and you can get back to work. The magisters. Then we can get them out, and you can get back to work.
Killed by sorcerers, a most vile incident. A valiant warrior against the void. Taken too early, all hope destroyed. The path thus ended, the conclusion of a noble bloodline. Who shall rise? Who gains the title most divine? We wait. We wander and wonder, seeking signs from the gods. May the seven usher us to paradise against all the odds. You have interrupted my newest masterpiece.
The bard clears his throat as though to continue, but suddenly stops short.
Wait a moment. You're the Lohse at my home tavern? Be still, my wretched, wretched heart. The mistress of song is here.
Stew is good, if you think it'll eat.
Madam, now that I can count you among their number, I should never find fault with them again. Please, would you let me compose a poem for you? It would be the most tremendous honor. It will be the finest piece I've ever composed. Of this, I am most certain. When the mornings are darkest and my crown tolls the terrible knell, when the beer ate my soul and there's tar in my wishful mind's well, I look to the day I heard Lohse the many-tongued sing. Because owning a head is a terrible thing. Owning a head is a terrible thing. In a small country valley, after the grain harvest failed, there was little to sing about in the poor village of Dark Vale. Roll up, you bastards! Lohse is coming to sing. You know an empty belly is a maudlin thing. I'm telling you, an empty belly is a maudlin thing. And then Lohse appeared. The sky cleared. I put down my beer, and she sang. And so did my heart. And we cheered. When the mornings are darkest, and my regrets toll the punishing bell, when the world ate my soul, and there's blood in my wishful mind's well, I look to the day I heard Lohse the many-tongued sing. And I learned that a heart is a glorious thing. Owning a heart is a glorious thing. Lo, I am struck by stars once more.
A single tear rolls down his cheek.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
You're good with the magic.
You know
An elf sways on her chair, her eyes focused on the counter in front of her, where she has 6 glasses in a row. With the nails of 2 fingers, she's pressing red welts into her forearm. She slides one of the drinks towards you, her head bobbling heavily on her neck as she nods at the sparkling ale.
Hell yeah. Nothing like a glass of the good stuff to smudge everything into a pretty shape.
She slides another glass of ale toward you. Its contents sparkle in the dim barlight.
Bottoms up. Can you just not? Cheers to you, me, and
Her gaze swivels around the room.
Damien's dull knife. This place is horrible. Never mind. Cheers to you, me, and me again. Another. Down the old house. Oh, reckon that was. Reckon a one too many.
mornings are darkest, and my regrets tone the punishing bell. When the world ate my soul, and
You're
there's
not
blood in my
my
wish
mum.
might dwell. I look
Damien was
today,
kind
I
of cute,
hold
though.
closer than many tongues.
Stew is people and people
And I
is
learned
stew.
that a heart is a glorious
Dwarf and an elf is a dwelf.
owning a heart.
Stew is people and people is stew.
And my crown told the terrible knell. And the air was and there's tar that I wish might
Huh?
dwell.
Oh, you look thirsty and thirsty.
She taps a fingernail on the glass of amber ale she offered you before. It's still full.
Come on, have a drink. Nothing like a glass of the good stuff to smudge everything into a pretty shape. Oh, reckon that was. Reckon that was. Reckon I won too many.
I'm here! The sky clear. I put down my feet and she sang.
Wheel of the good stuff.
You've got enough.
A prim woman in a starched apron wipes a glass with a clean rag. She pins you with blue, steel-sharp eyes as you approach the bar.
Blessings upon our Lucian, 7 times divine.
With surprising agility for a woman of her age, she reaches over the bar and swings a hand toward your face. You brace yourself for the incoming blow, but she instead points her finger into your face.
We don't speak of His Holiness that way in this establishment.
Can you simply eat or drink or both?
Well, you can't be blamed if your mother didn't teach you any better. But that can't be helped now, I suppose. Not everyone received the same education as my Niles. He's a magister now, dead. So what are you after? Yes, that's my boy. Did you know him? Finest physician in all of Reaper's Coast. Top of his class. My, but it's been too long since I've seen him. A deviant? But what do you mean? Tell me what you saw.
Prudence takes up a clean glass and starts to polish it with her rag, rubbing at invisible water spots with zeal.
Told him the Divine punished him for that nonsense if he kept it up. Told him and told him and told him till he couldn't see straight. I should have told him so hard he'd never get back up.
She turns away from you and continues polishing the glass, eyes darting quickly around the bar, focusing on nothing.
Nothing. Not for you.
Owning a heart.
He fixes you with a stare, looks you up and down, weighs you up, the cut of your cloth, the weight of your bag. A moment passes. Then a smile creases his face, a smile carefully constructed to look friendly and authentic, a smile that doesn't reach his eyes.
Greetings, stranger. Looking to ease the pain of a decaying world? You're in the right place. Beers are ordered at the bar, but can I interest you in a nourishing bowl of stew? A bold choice, on the face of it, unless you're looking for something a little more tantalizing than a meaty stew and a mildly alcoholic brew.
He raises an eyebrow and gives you a sly look.
It's the greater good. An empty belly is a maudlin thing.
He purses his lips. His fingers drum a pattern on his elbow as he assesses you. lascivious smile spreads across his face. His tongue darts from his mouth to lick the spittle from his lips.
Let me ask you this. Across the world, who is renowned above all others for their exquisite love-making abilities? Perhaps one day I'll get desperate enough to disabuse you of that notion. My friend, the very best lovers are, whisper it, lizards. And for a barely significant sum of gold, I can introduce you to the greatest lizard lover the world has ever seen. Well, this is what's available. Take it or leave it. And I suggest you take it. It's better to regret something you did than something you didn't do, am I right?
He holds out his hand. The money vanishes into his apron.
Now, let me ask you this. What flavour of stew do you prefer? Do you like the strong and meaty variety? Or do you prefer it delicate and fragrant, if you get my meaning? Upstairs, on the second floor. Her name is Zara. Pleasure is her business. Enjoy the experience of a lifetime.
He gives you a mischievous grin, then dips his head in salute and turns away. She nods an uninterested greeting.
Here for the fight? This is a tavern. People are drinking. Eventually there'll be a fight. You planning on starting one? Buy me a drink and I'll think about it.
She gives you a long look.
Yeah. Nah. Punch you later then.
You've got enough in front of you, ill.
Aging anyone up that looks at me funny.
The cook acknowledges you with a small bow, an oddly formal gesture given the surroundings.
Please, madam, you should not be back here. It's not safe. Sharp knives, boiling liquids, short tempers. Don't underestimate the dangers here. Now, please, you should speak to Loverick if you want food. You don't have to witness.
Hey, up! If it ain't the beast, man! Can't believe you found driftwood. How do you smell the ale over all that rotten fish? Get it?
The unfamiliar dwarf scratches his head nervously, then chuckles again. He doesn't seem sure what to say next.
Hey, shh, keep it low. I don't need magisters crawling up my backside after I just emptied it out.
I'll be quiet as a mouse. You bet. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Now go on down. Effie's Emporium's your bag for sure.
Look at that. A fresh face. And a pretty little kisser it is, too. Welcome be, Governor. Take a load off and enjoy Effie's plunder down under. Good to meet you, Governor. What's your poison, then? A sip or a smoke? Aye, so it is. But not just any Drudenite. Oh, no. My own special blends. Further down's the arena, see? And the gladiators are always on the lookout for an edge. I give them that edge. You could say that my darling herbs flower in the flesh and blossom in the brain. So, If you're interested, Governor, all you have to do is use your imagination. How can I make you bloom? No problem. In return for a reasonable donation, that is.
Effie digs all kinds of outlandish herbs from out of the depths of many pockets and mixes them with the patience and skill of an alchemist.
Much obliged, Governor. And here's your blend. Just take it to that big beauty of a pipe over there and have a blast. Right, good to see you again, Governor. Take all the time you need. Pleasure doing business with you, Governor.
Watch him fight. Watch him. See that? Right in the kisser. Doesn't.
Are you? No, you aren't.
The tigers fly, the leopards lie, and you. Oh, but I know you, don't I? I have seen you in the night, the woman with a demon's heart.
Hail, what a pretty young thing you are. Call me Dorothea.
She draws close. You feel her breath on your neck, hot, moist.
Oh, yes. I have something that you want. But I only bargain with those I deem deserving. Those who have accomplished great things. So, tell me, are you worthy of my gift? Indeed. This is acceptable. You are nearer the one than most self-described heroes I've known. So, tell me, are you ready for me to grant you your greatest desire? Oh, I see your ache. I can weave some tapestries, but that I cannot touch. Even a divine cannot repair all that we want mended. Yet we all have a need dwelling within us. To expose it, all you must do is look into my ring and tell me what you see there. Gaze into the gem, my lovely girl.
She flashes her ring at you, and you stare at the luminescent stone at its center. You are floating on a current of pure source, surrounded by a kaleidoscope of colors and fuzzy images. On the horizon looms a dark silhouette. As you approach, a beam of light washes the shadow away, revealing to you
I see you clearly now. It is power you seek. To conjure maelstroms and command the light to drive away shadow. I will fulfill this desire. In return, I ask for one thing in return. A kiss. Most delicious. Meet me around the corner and come alone. An audience is not required.
Dorothea sees you and heaves a shuddering sigh. She bites into her lower lip with enough force that a drop of blood seeps out. Blood and something else. Something green.
Darling, I admit I wish we could share more carnal pleasures. Yet I think a kiss is the height of intimacy. Now,
You draw closer and close your eyes, eager to feel her lips on yours. Yet her lips do not press against yours, and her hands do not caress your face. She is a woman no longer, but a were-spider. Her fang painlessly sinks into your neck. You still hear her words, though they sound muffled, as if filtered through a glass wall.
you desired power, and so it's yours. My venom seeps into every pore. We part ways now. I'll remember this moment. My girl, I am exactly as I seem. You've seen my true self. There's nothing more to know.
She kisses her forefinger, then presses it against your forehead.
Now go.
Down for a little scuffling and tussling? Let's see if you got some fight in ya. Well, that just may interest our current champion, Murga. She'll want to talk with you herself before she'll assent to any challenge. Watch your words, mind. She takes against you, there'll be no talking yourself into her good graces again. Well, you better start caring. Without her approval, you'll be stuck spectating. On your way, then.
Did you know our arena champion's a bloody cheat, stranger? Murga tricked me and bit off my earlobe before the fight had even started.
Watch out for Murga, stranger. She's a formidable fighter, our dear arena champion, and not one to suffer fools lightly.
Good gods! Is there a void woken down there? Must be one strong force field keeping it inside.
In the shadows, a dwarven woman spits obscenities down upon a caged void woken. She exudes a powerful air of menace and an even more powerful odor of old sweat and dried blood. She spies you and glowers.
More fodder for the arena. Let Murga the champion test how good your reflexes are.
Curling her torn lip back over broken teeth, she grabs your hand and pulls you down to the ale-soaked table. Never losing eye contact, she begins arm wrestling you. She glimmers in and out of view, merging with the shadows. Crowing, she slams her hand down hard beside your face, hard enough to make you flinch.
Jokes won't pick you up from the arena floor, dear. I bested that void woken below us, you know. Dragged that scaly lump down there with my own two hands. So, since you can't hope to beat me, what is it you want down here? Ah, based on your performance so far, that's cute. But I shouldn't judge your baby steps. The lion judge is not the pussycat, eh?
Murga raises one surprisingly delicate eyebrow.
Ah! Go talk to the raucous one. Tell him I sent you, and he'll set you up for a challenge. Prove yourself worthy fighting my acolytes blindfolded. Then, I'll knock your teeth out.
Hail, darling.
Ah, finally! Your colleague over there is absolutely useless. I'll have a bowl of the house stew, if you please. Ah! You truly are my saviour.
He inhales deeply over the stew, savouring the scent of it, then scoops up a large chunk of meat and swallows it down, seemingly without chewing. He pauses in anticipation, then frowns.
Rather disappointing, isn't it? After all I've been through, yet another tragedy.
He lowers his gaze, then looks up at you expectantly. His lip trembles dramatically.
It's my mentor. My dear mentor. He was killed by those void beasts. I told him we ought not to travel in the hills, but would he listen? No. Now here I sit, my closest companion gone, our precious cargo worth more than Lucian's right ring, lost to the beast-infested wilds. And on top of it all, the stew was a disappointment. Ah, then perhaps my luck has changed. Yes, perhaps this awful business might soon be behind me. Tell me, how are you with, well, Voidwoken? Ah, terrific news. Then what I ask will be little more than a trifling. My mentor, Liam, and I were hauling in a goodly number of fine wares from the Southlands when we crossed paths with a great brute of a Voidwoken. We made short work of Liam, may the gods rest his soul. I managed to escape, but my precious cargo was left behind. We'd invested our entire livelihood in those wares. I'll do anything to get them back. Very, very well, that's how. That cargo is worth more than a pretty penny, and I'll owe its retrieval to you and you alone. Now, give me your map. I'll show you just where to look. I doubt those beasts out there have any use of such a cargo. I can't tell you how thoroughly you've made my day. Good luck.
You doing okay, boy of mine?
I have to stop these disappearances. My career is at stake.
Throw him in a hole for all I care. It's the greater good.
You know what
I don't know even a smaller bit of it bit.
You're willing to risk Fort Joy for one night with a lizard.
Do you hear it? Do you
Then
hear
you're an idiot.
A weathered woman in a dirty sea captain's tunic babbles breathlessly to herself, and somewhere nearby you hear a bell ringing.
The bell rings a warning and the tide is on the turn. And I without my compass.
You got that right, Hilka. You got that right.
The ship is in the locker, on the bottom in the rocky shallows, and all are drowned but me. And yet, can you hear? The bell rings on. The bell haunts me yet, and it would drive me mad. I'm haunted by my crew. They ring the bell to drive me mad. Please, make it stop.
She buries her head in her hands and cries.
Make it stop!
Yeah? What do you want?
Who rings the bell?
Huh. I want another beer and a bowl of stew. Which of us is more likely to get what they want, do you think? Guess that makes me a sinner. Perhaps you can help us settle an argument. Thatcher here is one of my dearest friends, but she isn't the brightest.
Thatcher grins hello.
Our mate Boris got posted to Fort Joy for consorting with lizards. And Thatcher here still fancies a turn around the park with Loverick's lizard. I say she'd be sleeping with the enemy. What say you?
They look at you expectantly.
And you can't be too careful, you know? If they can get Alexander, they can get any of us.
You're right about that. Right as rain, Hilga.
The bell rings a warning and the tide is on the turn.
Thatcher looks victorious. Eden looks annoyed.
You're as bad as she is. Get lost then, you're no use to me.
Eden turns back to her drink. Thatcher smiles goodbye.
Curious joy for one night with a lizard.
The chest won't open.
Speak the word, and I shall open. Speak the word, the magic word, and I shall open. You speak the word, I open. For your safety, please stand back.
The lock unlocks with the tiniest click.
Curiosity kills the cat, or gets it sent to Fort Joy. You're willing to risk Fort Joy for one night with a lizard? Then you're an idiot.
The bell still rings.
The man slumbers on. He stirs.
Mother, no one with ghost cheese has any friends.
And goes back to sleep.
Curiosity kills the cat, or gets it sent to Fort Joy. You're willing to risk Fort Joy for one night with a lizard?
Here now. When one's in a small town, one must expect small town manners, I see. Have you a reason for barging into my room, madam? Which is what killed the cat, remember? Still, no harm done, I suppose. I may as well introduce myself. Baron Levere, at your service. Of course they are, as good bodyguards should be. I'm a wealthy man, and wealthy men need protection, especially if they accompany their wealth. The merchant's burden, you see. He must escort his merchandise, always. Travels, you say? And why would you assume I'm a traveling man?
He laughs heartily.
Of all things, I wouldn't have thought my accent would give me away, but you're quite right, of course. I am traveling, yes, to Arx. Lucian's Day will be upon us soon, a celebration no man with a heart that is both as pious and mercantile as mine should miss. I go because it is every citizen's duty, our communal obligation to chant the rites of the return and pray for Lucian's divine resurrection. That said, I do have more secular motivations as well. Arx positively overflows with pilgrims during the festival, pilgrims and their purses. As a merchant, it is quite my favorite day of the year. Music to my ears. A happy accident after all, you're barging into my room. If there's anything else you need, know you're always welcome.
You're willing to risk Fort Joy for one night with a lizard. Then you're an idiot. With a lizard. Then you're an idiot.
Nice.
Then you're an idiot.
A lizard, tall and beautiful, turns towards you.
Oh, I'm sorry, madam. I didn't mean anything by it. I'm just the demure yet sexy maid. I was in here clearing up and I saw these clothes. I couldn't resist. Please don't punish me. I'm so sorry, madam. I shall remove these clothes immediately. But mistress, these clasps and straps, they're so difficult for my delicate, sensitive, playful fingers. Would you...
She bats her eyelashes as she turns her back to you.
mind helping me?
She holds the robe to her, turns to face you. A mischievous smile plays across her lips. Then she lets the robe fall to the floor. Her mouth opens to form a perfect O of mock horror. Then she grins.
Take me.
She smiles, takes you by one manicured hand. With the other, she strokes your cheek, traces a line down your neck to your collarbone and your clothes. Slowly, she undresses you, then takes you to bed. Your world explodes in ecstasy.
Good morning, lovebirds.
Good morning, Gil. Hey, this is my lover. Lover, this is my friend Gil.
Shut it, you.
I'm sorry, darling. It's a setup. You paid for a trip to paradise. Now you're paying for the return journey.
To wit, we're taking all your stuff. If you want it back, you can take it up with Lohse.
I'm fading.
kills the cat. 6% for joy.
Check the cover.
One night with a lizard. Oh, my darling. You're so very good at what you do. I hope you're not sore about what just happened.
She thinks for a moment.
Do I want to go again?
She looks you up and down, starts to laugh. Ruefully, she shakes her head. Then she studiously turns her beautiful back to you.
Goodbye, lover. Curiosity kills the cat, or gets it sent to Fort Joy. You're willing to risk Fort Joy for one night with a lizard? Then you're a...
Quite so, my lord. Quite so.
The bell rings a warning and the tide is on the turn.
He gives you his mischievous grin.
I did promise you the experience of a lifetime.
His eyes widen. His lip quivers. You expect him to be afraid, even ashamed, but he's relieved.
Oh, thank the gods. They had me over a barrel. You have to believe me. It's hard enough to earn a crust around here, and me and the young'un, we've been starving. My lady, the little un was left with me when my wife died. She won't make it without me, the poor child. Livy. The child's name is Livy. She stays in the kitchen while I work. Go look. I swear it's true. You don't scare me, even with those crazy eyes of yours. Say goodnight.